Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pairfect, the daily Tribune digital show that takes you up close and personal with leading names in business and lifestyle. I am Dinah Ventura. It's the season for wish lists and treasured gifts. And no time is better than now to talk about things of beauty like art and rare collectibles. So let's get to it and welcome the couple who pioneered art auctions in the Philippines. Chairman and Chief Specialist of Salcedo Auctions, Kua Lerma, and his wife, jeweler and art connoisseur, Karen. So very honored to have you with
Hi,
us
Dina.
on
Thank
this
you for having
show.
us on the show.
Thank you for
It's an honor.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
I know you're very busy. You have an upcoming event for Salcedo Auctions.
Yes, we have our vernissage this afternoon, and in preparation for our Under the Tree, the wish list auction on the 2nd of December. So exciting days.
What's that? What is the wish list under the tree?
So Under the Tree, the wish list puts together works of important Philippine art, fine jewelry and timepieces, furniture, ecclesiastical art, and other valuable collectibles in one sale. It's one of the 4 major auctions under the Salcedo Auctions brand, and in between we have our Gavel and Block online auctions as well. So it's a full year's schedule of auctions.
I know, for you both, it's really a full-time.
It is. It is.
But let's start from the beginning. I know there's a very interesting story behind this.
Oh, yeah.
How did Salcedo Auctions come about? What inspired you to create it?
Well, I think it was a coming together of two very different individuals, but all with quite serious about what needed to be done in the country as far as art and collectibles were concerned. Karen and I were based overseas, and we saw that auctions were a beautiful platform to showcase art, both to acquire it and to sell it. And it was quite surprising that the country being country of art lovers that it is, there was no venue for its continued presentation in the auction format.
Because before you set up or you established Salcedo, everything was being done abroad, right?
Yeah.
So you have Christie's.
Absolutely.
You have
You'd have some small auctions being done, but they were like really private affairs and not in the industry level that we were looking at presenting it, seeing how it was being done overseas. And as I had I've often mentioned, and Karen and I felt that why does Philippine art need to be brought out for it to be sold and for Filipinos and appreciated, and for Filipinos actually have to purchase it abroad to bring it back. It didn't make sense. So, and that's what really that was the impetus.
That was the trigger. That was the impetus. Okay, but yes, I know that happened then, right?
Yeah.
But what was your life back then? What were you doing, each of you, before Salcedo Auctions came about?
Well, I was interested in, I was taking care of the kids at that time, but then at the same time, I was interested in jewelry.
Okay.
And I felt like, well, with his background in art and my background in jewelry and being able to, appreciate all of these collectibles, I think it would be, it was nice to have a platform for everybody to just really appreciate.
Yeah, something beautiful, things of
That's right.
rarity and creativity. That's
right.
But I'm sure at that time, it couldn't have been easy. I mean, you were setting up something completely new for the Philippines,
Yes.
right? What was that like, beginning?
Oh, it was a paradigm shift. I still remember our first auctions, and I joke about it now. I think that when people would come to the auctions, they were still getting used to the idea about prices starting at a certain level and going up. And as I always say,
about that.
that's right. Because, like I especially with our friends, like in in other countries, and we often have a good laugh about it. I go, in Asia, the methodologies we bargain down. We don't pay higher. But I think the eureka moment was that, well, then you start at the price that is attractive to people. And that's a whole, we can talk about the whole process of auctions.
Negotiation.
That's right. And then it goes to the person that is most willing to pay top
Yeah,
value
that-
for
in the end,
for
that's-
that piece, which is, I think, I believe that's the right way, and I think it's a fair way for the owner of that piece to get the best possible price
Right.
for the.
On that
artwork.
note, I mean, a lot of people wonder, how do you put a value on art, like in terms of dollars or pesos?
Well, it did help that, I mean, as a bit of background, I used to be the director and chief
Okay.
curator of the Ateneo Art Gallery, which is the first modern art museum
Yes.
in the country. And one of my chief tasks was to be able to ensure the value of that entire collection of the university on an annual basis.
Okay.
And so really, I would go through each and every
Wow.
artwork in that collection and update the valuation of the pieces. And we would do intensive research in terms of what the market was prepared to pay. You look at historical data.
So it's research.
Research is important. You can't just fish out these prices
Yeah.
from thin air, and that's very, very important. And it's really the fair way to go about it, because you want people, when they come to your auctions, which we later on set up, that that they're paying the right value, or if they get excited about it and they're in competition, etc., they know from which starting point they should be looking at it in terms of our own estimations of the piece. And again, not just simply coming up with these values from
Thin air.
Absolutely.
No,
Because,
yes.
no, that's right. It's worth this much, etc. No, there needs to be needs to be
Yeah.
a basis for
A
that. And
solid basis
that's
for
right, because
value.
it's the financially responsible thing to do.
Right.
You're parting with your hard-earned money.
Yeah, right.
And of course, there are many reasons for people to acquire these valuables, but at the end of the day, you're talking about hard-earned money, and you need to be sure.
Apart from that, I think since we produce catalogs, these catalogs are later on used as reference materials. Right? So you would see over the years how prices change, and there would be basis for us to be putting these values
Yeah.
in these pieces.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, like Karen's correct. That you treat these catalogs as really, well, art historical
Yes,
literature.
record.
That's right. Because after 10 years, you look at that, and this is
Yeah.
how much, let's say, a Manansala was worth, and you can rely on that kind of data. It's not just, again,
Yes.
a figure.
A lot
that
of
was-
work went into that.
went
yeah.
into that. And at that point in time, this would have been the right valuation
Value.
for that piece.
How many catalogs are we talking about now by now?
Oh my God. I guess you could, let's say, I mean, right now, it's probably, we have between 10 to 12 auctions a year. And so over the span of nearly 14 years,
Oh, wow.
we can do the math there. Some are printed catalogs for the bigger sales, for the, of course, online. Then you have the online catalogs.
Busy,
as
busy,
well.
busy.
Very busy, yes. And of course, we also have our private sales in between. For some of those, we do also prepare
Wow.
catalogs. So it's a full team.
How
That's,
many people are we talking about?
right
like
now,
Right now, we're about 20.
Okay.
there's 20 people.
But I do
that do
remember the
Salcedo.
earlier days when there were just
Just the two of you.
It was just the two of
Really?
us and one secretary. That's how Salcedo Auctions started. In fact, that a lot of people know, Salcedo Auctions started with an auction of 10 paintings.
Really?
Yeah, the 10 paintings,
By-
which we organized by Victoria Edades. Which, I mean, it started out, the company started out as really a marketing event for one of our top property developers. And, the idea came where we would offer 10 works by Edades.
Edades.
From then, the rest is history, because it's just that people saw how successful that was, and it led to one other auction and then another, and before you know it, it became, it wasn't just an industry that was started, it was a whole culture.
I
That we
know. It's
started.
like
Yeah, yeah,
people expect all these things already to happen every
Yes,
year.
that's right.
Oh.
Before,
When did you find your home? I mean, the Salcedo office.
so
Well,
maybe
in
2010,
2010.
we started
Okay.
Salcedo, and that's where the name of the company,
Yes.
in fact, came. It's like, why Salcedo
Salcedo
Auctions?
Auctions.
It was simply
Because-
because our first space, sale room, and gallery was in Salcedo Village.
Okay.
So we're doing auctions. It's in Salcedo.
Yeah.
I mean, people have all of these. Oh, it sounds this way or that way. It was just simply it was in that space, and luckily it was available.
Great. It's been your home for all
It
these
had
years
been
now.
all of this time. In 2019, we did move to our new venue,
Okay.
our headquarters in Ayala, Avenue
Ayala.
at Next
Yeah.
Tower.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. So that's the
That was
late-
the next stage
Yeah,
of
the
our,
next stage.
of our growth. Yeah.
Okay. So from that time when you started out with just 3 people in the company, you were asked this question a while ago.
Yeah.
Where are you now at this point, Salcedo, the business?
Well, I can speak of for ourselves in terms of the way that the business has definitely grown. As I mentioned, at that time we were doing from that one auction, it became 2 and 3, and then it's become it has become a full.
We had a quarterly event.
That's
It
right.
was just that for several
For
years.
several years, and
right?
then the demand grew, and before you know it, like
How many now? 20?
No, no.
oh no, all of these time. Well, at least there's at least one auction per month now because it's a big it's a big organizational task to be able to assemble all of these pieces and to vet it and to price it, etc. That's why we've grown to these many people on staff as well. But it has grown from strength to strength, as you can see from the number of auctions that we're doing. Well, during the pandemic, in fact, we were quite fortunate that while other
I
industries,
think we became
yeah.
even more active.
We became even more
during
active during the pandemic
Wow.
because of when we shifted
Online.
online. There were all of these high net worth individuals that were not
had
able
a
to. That's right. They had no. They still continued to earn, but they had nowhere to travel.
Yeah.
They had nowhere to eat out.
All right. That became
They-
their outlet.
That
their-
became almost literally their outlet. They were in their homes and they were thinking, they had, I think, for decoration in their minds and spring cleaning.
Right,
A bit
a
of
lot of-
both. I
Yeah,
think I
so
don't need this.
things you want
I can
to-
get
And
rid
I
of
want
that.
this,
Yeah,
I wanna
and they have
change
all, they had
this.
all the time. That's right. And then suddenly, just
So you
looking at
found
this, they were-
yourself so busy.
even busier, in fact,
busy.
during the pandemic. So so to answer your question, it really has grown to what it is today.
Ang galing. Something you
you.
never expected or imagined?
Well, I mean,
Were you taking it day by day lang or what?
I think we're also always trying to break boundaries. We're always exploring as well. What else can we do?
Okay.
And we have a big space now, so
Yeah.
that's
Possible.
making us want to always think of
something to be
To
able to, because
innovate
it's a
and,
beautiful
yeah,
space.
yeah.
It's a
Oo
beautiful
nga.
space. You can do so many things there. So
Yeah.
it's moved from the auctions, live auctions, to online auctions, and then we also have our private sale events as well. We've had exhibitions by leading Filipino visual artists, also Philippine artisans, designers have also exhibited there. So it has become that, but. We could never have imagined. We, of course, always hoped and dreamed that it would be something of significance, but
Yeah. it is.
everything
It
just
has
happens to
become-
fall into place, and it has become that. And of course, we're very thankful.
Yay.
Yeah. Just recently, well, a few months ago, we launched this new program, Private Art Public Lives.
As part of our.
Ah, yes.
So that's a new, I guess that's
Concept.
that's
that was a
something
new
new. Yeah.
concept, and people really welcomed that. It was an opportunity to, I suppose, supplement what museums were doing in terms of bringing pieces out,
Yes.
because we knew who had, because of the access that
Right.
we have, and knowing what important pieces there are, and I suppose tapping into the civic, I guess, responsibility of many people to want to share
Yes.
what they have, so they bring out their private collections for the public to see.
Yeah,
So-
because what is art if not to be appreciated?
correct,
Right?
that's right, absolutely. And so
So-
to be a channel for that is
Something
quite
that
nice, yeah.
fulfills you.
It does.
It does, yeah. And the educational aspect of it
is
as
always
well.
very important.
Very,
yeah.
I mean, both of us, both Karen and myself, were in our early days, well, as I mentioned, in education.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know Karen was also a preschool teacher.
Oh,
When she
really? Okay.
when she graduated from from university as well. So education is
Ang galing naman ng partner.
somehow deeply enmeshed, I think, in our relationship. There's always that desire to be able to educate.
To educate.
That's right.
To share information.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's very important because I think it enriches everyone.
Right. So I was gonna ask, like, does art run in your blood? Because
Well,
it's
as
like
I-
everything you eat, breathe, and
Well,
sleep,
my
art.
parents were art collectors. We were also in the art and design business. They were one of the first exporters of Philippine handicrafts,
I
like
see.
back in the 1970s. And so I grew up surrounded by that. And so even my siblings are all in the arts. Of course, we sort of like took it a step further by turning it into this business.
Your work.
Yeah, it has become
your
our work and our
passion.
life and our passion,
Yeah.
more importantly. Karen's from a family of entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
of course, and so I think that's where it all came,
It
came
all
together.
blended
Yeah.
together very beautifully.
Thank you.
Okay, the talk is getting very interesting,
Thank
but
you.
we'll just pause for a short break. We'll be right back.
This break is brought to you by Hangkas, Beat the Traffic, Bayad Center, hashtag Bigger Better Younger Bayad, and you can buy it all. Globe, atin ang mundo. Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart, live more today. Union Bank, it starts with you. A wellness show dedicated to empowering viewers with the knowledge and inspiration needed to lead a healthy lifestyle. Be Well Now, hosted by Miss Cory Quirino, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Only here at Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube.
Alamin ang pinakamaiinit na balita at mahalagang issue na bumabalot ngayon sa ating bansa. Ating pag-usapan, blow by blow, dito lang sa Hot Patatas, kasama sila Chicky Mangkukang, Vernon Velasco at Gio Leaño. Yung Lunes, Miyerkules at Biyernes, alas 3 ng hapon, dito lang sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Conversations that are masterclasses from the top honchos of various industries. Learn from their strategies and insights so you yourself can unlock your full potential. Pairfect every Friday at 2 p.m. only here on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube. Creative minds, entertainment icons, style influencers. We shine the spotlight on remarkable individuals who shape our cultural landscape. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. only here in Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube.
Welcome back. You're still watching Pairfect. Thank you for watching Pairfect and be one of the lucky winners of Casino Filipinos Paskong Big Time Bingo Millonario this coming December 10, Sunday at 2 p.m. with over 10 million worth of cash prizes to be given away. This will be held at the ballroom of the New Coast Hotel, Manila. Okay, so
Beautiful. We should have another auction after that.
right, some winner will be able to.
We're bidding on
Right.
their winnings.
That's funny. So yeah, so speaking of money,
Yes.
so do you find that the market in the Philippines is big enough for the venture that you went into?
Well, the
Quite simply, I think
population,
yes. I think in terms of Karen's right, like in terms of the population right now, in 14 years, we're still, still growing in terms of our audience, and it's an increasingly wealthy country. I mean, when you see the GDP being what it is compared to the rest of Asia, for example, and like Karen's right, like just the sheer population of the Philippines. Auction businesses have thrived in much smaller jurisdictions as well.
Oh, and you
So-
pioneered something that like
Yes.
just opened up this.
Absolutely, I wouldn't say it's a yeah, it's a treasure chest, really. Yeah.
But are you also exploring international markets? What are you doing to expand your audience?
Karen.
Well, I guess there is growing interest in the Philippines from the international market. They want to learn more about us as a people, about our culture, and so there is interest in what we have produced over the years, in our history, and So yeah, I think it's growing naturally.
We have all of these bidders also from overseas who've been participating in our
Really?
auctions.
Regular ones, or you're getting new ones?
Some
regular.
some regular, and some and very encouragingly new ones as well, who are bidding against our local collectors, which I think is a good sign that our art is being appreciated beyond our borders.
Yes, I was gonna ask that much later on, but since you talked about trying to bring the Philippine art to a wider audience,
Yes.
not just Filipinos, right?
Yes.
Do you think we have grown in that aspect, like through Salcedo Auctions?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think we've been really quite active in terms of marketing, the Philippine art. Also being very enthusiastic about it to everybody that we meet when we attend all of these, exhibitions or art fairs overseas. We can't help but enthuse about, the way Philippine art has moved, and I think that's opened the eyes of a lot of people overseas as well. Hey, we should take a look at the art in the Philippines. Yeah.
Art. How do we fare in that arena, I guess?
Well, a lot of people say that, like, at least within Asia, I think we're one of the top 4 markets, not just in terms of the value, but also in terms of the, I suppose, the quality of the work. We oftentimes, when you talk about Philippine art, like, for North and East Asia, it's China, Japan, and Korea. I think for our part of the world, you're talking about primarily the Philippines and Indonesia as having really very strong art markets and art scenes in terms of the quality of the art and the artists that we produce.
All right. And what is the perception about Philippine art
Well,
among
I think that
non-Filipinos?
well, color is. I think color is one big thing that impresses people, and I think it's very much reflective of the milieu in which the art is created. And I think that's one big thing that differentiates arts from different parts of the world. It's because, of course, light falls differently in different places, and so you can see that immediately in the art. When you look at the number solo, when they talk about the golden sunlight, the sun will shine differently somewhere else in the world. So that's one thing I think, like, in terms of something that's uniquely Filipino. It's our color, it's a vibrancy of our compositions, etc. And of course the themes. I mean, the Philippines is really a melting pot of cultures.
So you get a diverse.
That's right, and so that's what enriches.
set of-
That's what enriches our art and interests people from overseas. But that's a good thing as well, because when they see that melting pot, they see themselves in the art
Oo nga, no?
too, which is, I think, really quite important. That enables the Philippine art to go beyond our borders.
Yeah. Okay. So, what can people or bidders expect from your latest event, the wish list?
Well, I'll have Karen on
Yes.
the jewelry.
Well, I love the jewelry and watch lineup. There are some really good buys and beautiful pieces. Like, there's a Bulgari set, a vintage Bulgari
Chandra from the Chandra series, beautiful.
set. And then there's also like a Cartier diamond watch.
Yeah, that was a stunning addition to the collection. It's diamond encrusted. It's an 18 karat gold. But if you invite everybody, take a look at the catalog, because
How
you
can
will be, they can go to salcedoauctions.com and just click on the link and look for that Cartier Panthère. You will be bidding on that. Because when you look at the price.
Are you ever tempted? Like, oh my God, I want this for myself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes,
absolutely.
yes. I
That's
mean,
the most
there's
difficult
such-
thing.
Okay.
That's really the most difficult thing, because
Yeah.
you don't want to be competing against your clients, of course. But
Yeah.
of course, because we have first-hand access
I
to these things, so
know.
one needs to be a bit more detached,
Okay.
right? Which is very difficult.
The art of detachment.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, the human thing is, of course, you have a thing of beauty and you want to be able to collect it and keep it. But
Correct.
no, of course, Salcedo Auctions, we are a venue, and here it is.
Well, crying.
I know, yeah, that's right. I'm enjoying you while you're here. And then I'll be
yeah.
tearful when you leave our
feel.
Yeah, there's some
okay.
really beautiful pieces out there that I hope to still see someday. But of course, once it leaves our doors, that's
Yes.
it.
That's it. Bye-bye.
And we look forward to the next
Yeah.
And
one.
then there's the next one. Some have, over
Yeah,
over time,
yeah.
they've,
But I think that's
14
very
years.
lucky. I mean, to be surrounded by all
It
these
is. It's a
It
things all the
blessing.
is
time.
to be
We're
able
Oh my
surrounded by all
gosh.
of these
appreciate,
things.
yeah, see all of it.
Okay. So, yeah, I think I've asked you a while ago. So that's also. Anyway, so what else can we expect from the wish list? What else would you recommend people should check out?
Well, definitely, I think in terms of the important Philippine art, I mean, highlights include this really historically important, not just in terms of her her body of work, but also in terms of the Asian art market as well. The Geraldine Navier,
Geraldine Navier,
Geraldine Navier, one of our most important contemporary
Right.
visual artists, is a large canvas work in this under the tree sale, and the wonderful thing
Under
about
the
it,
huge tree.
under the huge tree. The title of that is the Tree of Knowledge,
Oh,
for example, and it's there taking center stage
Okay.
at our space in next tower. We also have this. I'm so excited about the Ben Cab
Oh wow.
that used to be owned by the Oscar, Emmy, and Tony Award-winning actress Glenda Jackson.
Really?
Yeah, we have a
May
photograph.
Bencab siya.
Yeah, she had several.
Okay.
We actually have a photograph in the catalog, and I think it's out in media as well, where you have Glenda Jackson sitting in her drawing room, and you have the two Ben Cabs hanging behind her. She was married to a gallerist
Okay.
who gave Ben Cab his break back in the late
Oh, what a
60s,
good
early
story.
70s. It's an excellent story, and for it to have, some of these very iconic works were there and have found their way here. So we're
Ganda.
very thankful. The trust that was given by the owners of the piece
Yeah.
to bring it to Salcedo Auctions.
There's the
In addition
Kenneth
to that,
Cobon
of course, the Kenneth Cobon Pich. So in addition to the art, the furniture is
Yes.
something that we always continue to honor at Salcedo. This is a prototype chair of Kenneth, the only one that he made from this series, which is going to auction. Just shows the collectability of our designer
Ang galing.
furniture too. And of course, we have a 12-seat bench by
Abueva.
Napoleon Abueva that's going to auction.
Beautiful
as
lines,
well.
very clean, modern
Beautiful
lines.
lines.
yeah.
There's also this Marian painting, which was the cover of the book Aba Ginoong Maria. Among all of the works of art that feature the Virgin Mary, that painting, which is inspired by the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, is in Salcedo Auctions, and that's
Yeah.
also going to auction the 2nd of
Wow.
December. So it's
What a
really an
treat.
astonishing collection. And I
know.
said, I mean, it is what it promises to be. It's a wish list.
I know.
It's
I
a-
was looking at
And
it
it's-
actually.
It's a wish
We
list
have
of pieces.
different
And then the
categories
price,
of- yeah, price.
the
Oh,
categories
yeah. Some are
different.
very-
The price
the
points are
starting
also
prices
yes,
are
because
very,
not everything is at
approachable.
the-
For everyone
That's
as
right.
well,
That's
yeah.
there is something for everyone, and so we all auctions may have this very intimidating notion that they're not. In
Yeah nga
fact,
eh.
there are great opportunities. to
Actually,
be
some
had.
people imagine like to go to an auction, you should be like, a mega millionaire to afford any of those
Well,
things.
in fact, it's always a great starting point for collections
I
to go to auctions and to be able to hone your taste, and to be
Right.
able to zoom in on pieces that you like. They might not necessarily be the most expensive lots there, but you appreciate it, and then over time, and we've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Dina, like there were some pieces that were bought, let's say like in 2011, 2012. Not a lot of people were looking at them. Those pieces have multiplied in value
Hundredfold.
hundredfold. And that's
Really?
Nice. I can name some of these artists as well. So it's always good to come to these auctions to
You
see.
stumble upon something
That's
that
right,
you
because-
can afford at the moment.
That's right. Yes,
And
because
Because
appreciate
later
it,
on,
yeah.
it's like,
I mean, what we can assure you is, of course, these are all vetted by
Yes.
Salcedo Auctions. And
course.
there's a specialist in this
The
particular field.
seal of credibility.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, we take our role very seriously. And
Oh,
so when-
speaking of roles,
Yes.
tell us about your what do you do?
Oh, okay.
What's
So as
your
the-
work as the chief? And
well, as the chief specialist, of course, the area of vetting the art
yes, falls on you.
falls on me.
Okay.
Of course, I work with other specialists when it comes to furniture, the jewelry, etc. But of course, I present the guidelines in terms of what may or may not be included in our auctions. It needs to be of a certain value, a certain, not just value in terms of the monetary, but also in terms of the the historical,
Yes.
which is really very important because that's where value resides.
Right.
These are objects, but what adds value to the objects are the stories that go behind
Correct.
all of these pieces. And so that's where I come in now in terms of, well, Karen's role.
Is to implement or to execute.
So she handles the administrative area.
So
of
you
it.
manage the operations
It's a,
and
yes,
everything.
it's a, our roles are really quite defined. Of course, we cross over
Okay,
from
of
time to time,
course.
but I think it's also good to have defined roles within that organization. So she say, oh, let Richie decide on that, or I say, let Karen decide on that. So that's really very important, especially it's something that you will end up taking home anyway.
Right. So how do
It's
you
not often that
separate
it-
your personal from the professional? I mean, like, what do you do outside of work? Do you always talk about the work? I mean, what?
I guess because
It's part
the
of our-
nature of the business, it's lifestyle.
It's yeah.
So, yes, there is a lot of
It's enmeshed. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
people. When you hear people say, "Oh, they want to leave work at
Work,
the office,"
yeah.
and then when they come home, and one of the things for entrepreneurs is that that's something that
You can't really-
it dwells in you.
Yeah.
And of course, if your spouse is also your partner in the business, then you're also still talking about that as well. But I think that for both of us, that's fine because it's something that we both love in terms of it's like I said, not everybody has the opportunity to run a business that's enmeshed with your passions.
Right.
To-
You're very, very
That's
fortunate.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That it's not just all. It's not of course as a business there's a financial aspect of it, but it's not all that. It's about
Yeah.
passion. It's about interest. So when you have those conversations as well, you're talking about your
Yeah.
passions and your interests and what is a partnership.
Yeah.
But that,
yeah.
So it's great to have that.
Right. Still, what do you do outside of work? What do you love to do as a couple?
Well,
I think
Travel
we
is-
travel.
And you also look for art.
well, we end up, of course, going to museums, or
okay.
going to, all of these different, artistic events. Of course, Karen's a big nature lover. I'm more of a city boy.
Okay.
But
opposite.
so
We
yeah,
look for happy compromise.
we look for happy compromises where I see the city and she sees the country. That's always a good thing. But of
Yeah.
course, and that's the same with our two boys as well. I think that they have a bit of both. And so right now, I think it's especially now that we have both of our children are studying. They're
Overseas.
both overseas.
Okay.
And so a lot of the time,
Yes.
like when what do we do? It's always it's finding the time to spend with our kids. At this stage in their
Somehow
lives.
being together,
So
finding a way
ways
to,
for us to be together
Okay.
because we're in different parts of the world. We're early empty nesters. I didn't expect that it would happen this way,
Where
but
are they studying?
One is in New York and the other
the
one
one
is
is
in
in-
Sydney.
yeah, one
yeah.
is in Sydney. So they're in two different they're in two different places. So it's really fine being able to find the time.
Wow.
But it's
On
also
top of all the things you do for Salcedo Auctions.
that's right. So it's being able to see what the children are. Of course, as parents, always trying
You
to
make
be as
time.
involved as we can, and really making time
Yeah.
if we can, because I think at the end of everything, of course, family is most important, and we do find that. I think one of the great things about being able to run a business is that you can also work your schedule
Yes, right.
around.
You're in
what
charge of that.
That's right. Your priorities. I mean, family comes first, and so if there's an important event, then things need to work around
Yeah.
that. And we really ensure that either both of us or one of us is there for very important moments in our children's lives, and I think that's really.
That's what's making it work so
Yeah.
I
well
think
for
so.
both
Yes.
of you.
So there's the business, but there's also family, and being able to make that work is.
Life is an art.
You couldn't have put it better. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
You know what? I'm really enjoying talking with you both, but
you, Dina.
the show we are about to say goodbye. So before we end the show, would you like to invite our viewers to
December
any of your
2.
events or any message you would like to impart about,
Well,
Philippine art?
well, the first thing is, of course, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the many people who've worked with and have entrusted their valuable collectibles to Salcedo Auctions, whether as consigners or as buyers. Thank you for taking us to 14 years. It's a lot of people have told us, like, I can imagine, like, there was a time that there was no auctions in the Philippines.
Zero.
Right.
Yeah.
And then 14 years hence, here we are. So thank you so much for the trust.
Yes.
And of course, we'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to our end of year auction, which is under the wish list. The preview opens
Online.
tomorrow, both live and online. Live at our headquarters at Next Tower, 6786 Ayala Avenue, where you'll be able to see all of the pieces that are on offer. And you can see everything at salcedoauctions.com. The live and online auction is on December 2 at 2 p.m. So we look forward to your joining us for that.
Should be interesting.
Thank
Karen?
you.
No, I think
Yeah, bid. Ganun.
bid.
So thank you very much once again for joining us on Pairfect. We hope to have you with us again
love to.
sometime.
Thank
Talk
you.
about other things.
Yes, of course.
Bring your
Part two.
family.
I would love to, sure.
So, and to everyone, thank you for watching Pairfect. Once again, this is Dinah Ventura. See you next week.